Alright, today we are in Topic 2 in our Unit 3A packet. We've already talked about Topic 1. It's really important that you do the notes from Topic 1 before you do Topic 2. Today we're going to talk about another method to find slope, and that method is called the stack and subtract method. We just kind of made up that language, stack and subtract. So we're going to start with these 2 points, 6, 2 and 10, 0. And we're going to find the slope between those 2 points. And actually, we used this example in Topic 1. We know already from Topic 1 that our slope is negative 1 over 2. And now I'm going to find the slope another way, and I'm going to confirm using another method that the slope is negative 1 over 2. So before we do anything, I want you to look over here where I define slope. So we've talked about slope already as the rise over the run. Now rise means how far up or down the points, the distance between the points is. So if you remember on a graph, we counted up or down. Up or down on a graph is represented by the y-coordinates. So what we're really going to do is subtract the y-coordinates. That'll tell us how much space is between them. Then we're going to do the run, which is we're going to look at our x values and subtract them. One other way to write this, and we're going to use this symbol a lot, when you do y minus y, that gives you how much changed or how much distance is between the y values. And in math, we write that as a little triangle with a y. That literally means change in y. And then a little triangle with an x. That means how much the x values changed. Alright, so to do stack and subtract, what we do is we just take our 2 points and we literally stack them on top of each other. So I'm going to write here 6, 2, and I'm going to stack it over 10, 0. And now I'm going to subtract those 2 points. It's really important that the y's are lined up and the x's are lined up. When I subtract them, I'm going to do 2 subtract 0, and 2 minus 0 is 2. And then here I'm going to do 6 subtract 10, and 6 minus 10, careful, is negative 4. Now I have 2 numbers, right? The number on the right represents how much my y values changed. I subtracted them. The number on the left is how much my x values changed. So the next thing I do is I take that result and I write it as a fraction. So I found the change in y and the change in x, but I have to make sure that I put the change in y over the change in x. So I'm going to rewrite this as change in y over change in x is, remember my y coordinate is 2, my x coordinate is negative 4. And now I have found my slope. 2 over negative 4 is my slope. That really means up, 2, left, 4. That's my slope pattern. But we have one more step, and that's that we're going to reduce our fraction. So our fraction is 2 over negative 4. I'm going to reduce that by dividing the top by 2 and dividing the bottom by 2, because they have a common factor. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. So my slope is 1 over negative 2. Remember, our original answer from the top of our paper is negative 1 over 2. Negative 1 over 2 means exactly the same as 1 over negative 2. As long as there's a negative symbol, it's the same. And actually, in the original step, when we subtracted our points, I just randomly put 6, 2 on top and subtracted 10, 0. You could have put 10, 0 on top and subtracted 6, 2, and if you did, you would have got this answer. So these are the same, it just depends the order that we subtract. Alright, so we're going to do a couple more examples, starting with example 2. So here are my 2 points, 5, 2, 9, 4. I'm going to subtract them. And it doesn't really matter which one goes on the top or the bottom, but since we're subtracting, you might remember that subtraction is easier if we take a big number and subtract a smaller number. So if you notice that one of your points has bigger numbers than the other, put that one on top and it'll make this a little bit easier. But your answer will be the same no matter what. 9 over 4 on top, stack it with 5 over 2. And I'm going to do a subtraction problem. I do 4 minus 2 and I get 2. And I do 9 minus 5 and I get 4. Alright, next we write our answer as a fraction, change in y over change in x. So I'm going to write change in y over change in x equals, my y coordinate is 2, my x-coordinate is 4. Got 2 over 4, they're both positive. Last step, we reduce. 2 over 4 reduces. Divide by 2 on the top, divide by 2 on the bottom, I get 1/2. My final answer, my slope, is 1 over 2. All right, the next example, here are my 2 points, negative 13, 0 and negative 2, 6. All right, in this example, it's not too obvious which point has bigger numbers. But this point, since it has a positive 6, I see a positive 6 is bigger than 0. And actually, negative 2 is bigger than negative 13, so I'm going to put negative 2, 6 on the top. Again, it doesn't really matter. That's up to you which one goes on top. So negative 2, 6 and negative 13, 0, stack them. Subtraction, 6 minus 0 is 6. Be really careful here. Negative 2 minus negative 13. Now, negative 2 minus negative 13 minus a negative actually turns into negative 2 plus 13, which is positive 11. So now I write my answer as a fraction, change in y over change in x, and I get my y is 6, my x is 11. Last step is to reduce 6 over 11. Is there anything that has a common factor between 6 or 11? And actually 11 is a prime number, which means there are no numbers that divide into it. So there are no common factors here. It cannot reduce. 6 over 11 is my final answer. Alright, these are our last two examples. So next we have 5, 3, and 7, 2. We want to find the slope between them. So if you wanted to see which one goes on top, you'd notice that 2 is smaller than 3, but 7 is bigger than 5. So in this case, it really doesn't matter which one you put on top because neither point has both coordinates bigger. So I'm just going to put 7, 2 on top. It doesn't matter. And 5, 3 on the bottom. And I'm going to subtract 2 minus 3, and I get negative 1. And 7 minus 5, and I get positive 2. Next we write as a fraction change in y over change in x, and that is negative 1 is my y, x is 2. Lastly, I reduce. Negative 1 over 2 doesn't have any factors in common, and the answer is no, because 1 is a prime number, it doesn't have any factors. So negative 1 over 2 is my final answer. Alright, on to our last example. Oops, crazy. So our last example, we have 6, 1, and 7, 5. Alright, so I am going to choose 7, 5 to go on the top when I stack because 7 and 5 are both bigger than 6 and 1. Alright, now I'm going to subtract 5 minus 1 and I get 4. And 7 minus 6 and I get 1. So write as a fraction change in y over change in x. My slope is positive 4 over positive 1. Lastly, reduce. So 4 over 1 can't be reduced, like that's our final answer, but you might notice that 4 over 1 is a fraction. It really means 4 divided by 1, which is just 4. So you could also write this as a whole number, 4. They mean the same, but these are both acceptable answers. Alright, so you can go on to your homework. I believe we're on homework number 2 in the 3A packet. Good luck.